Alrighty. Alright. Hey, you guys can come this way a little bit if you want. Alright, we're centered. Alright. Now we got that figured out. Wait. Let's move this way. Laura, yep. We got it? We got it? We're good. Alright.
Is this one in the bloopers?
It might, yeah.
Bloopers.
All right, what's going on, guys? Branton here. I'm at Jake and Katie's.
Take two.
All right, yep.
Three.
Redo that one. Okay. God, it's always so awkward. You guys got to help me out here, too. All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jake, and welcome to Branton's show.
I'm Katie, and this is River. This is Brian.
Yeah,
We just got him today.
All right, guys. Branton here. I'm at Jake and Katie's. Hagen Hill Design. Is it Hagen or Hagen?
Hagen.
Hagen. Okay, so I did get it right.
Yep.
I know that was a debate there for a little while. But yeah, I'm all the way up in Spooner, Wisconsin. Took me 2.5 hours to get here. Me and the family are staying at a hotel in Winona, visiting some family. And I thought this would have been the perfect opportunity to come and visit Jake, Katie, and the new addition River and film their fish room. This is kind of a trend with the first couple of fish rooms that I've done. Nobody's ever been in here to film this fish room, so it's kind of cool. You guys get another exclusive fish room tour. And yeah, I guess what's going on, guys?
Not
Hi,
a whole
River.
bunch. Just been cleaning like crazy, trying to make room to walk around in here before you got here. So that took like a week. But
So many buckets.
yeah, had to stack the buckets up and get them out of here. And normally it's not so much room for activities; it's a little more cramped. But
yeah, I remember what was it? There was a live stream not long ago where you thought I was coming over February 22nd. And you guys were like scrambling.
Yep. I'm like, oh, another month? Oh, God. I told Katie, and she was like, you can just see her shoulders go. Oh.
That's funny.
But we still pushed it right to the limit again this time.
Yeah.
It's like,
You pushed it.
yeah, I did.
It's probably a good thing you did, or it would have been messy and you'd have had to do it over.
Yeah. It is what it is. I got to a point where I'm like, you know what?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
We work in here. We play in here. This is more than just a fish room. This is where Katie and I like to hang out, blow off steam, play darts, listen to music, tip a few back, and relax when the child finally goes to sleep. And we, with modern technology, we throw a camera on her and keep an eye on her while we kind of have mommy daddy time to ourselves. So it's our flamingo lounge, I guess you want to call it.
Here we go. Well, there's a lot of fish tanks in here, and I'm really looking forward to filming them. And
We'll get to
Can't
it.
wait.
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Go ahead and start with this one, Jake.
These are all male Endler guppies. The Endlers that I breed here. Been separating out sexes, so this is all dudes. They're all guys. These are black bar Endlers mostly, so you can see the obvious black bar on them.
Yeah. Now, some of them have really nice tails on them.
Well, they're as they get older, I'm noticing that their tails are super long. There's one in there that has more of a mosaic tail, if you can find them at all, but that one ended up being a hybrid that kind of happened accidentally. We got these fish as kind of a rescue. There's a children's center in town here that a friend of ours was over there with their kid, and they're having problems with their fish tank. And we went over there to check it out because they heard from our friend that we kept fish, and they were having just all sorts of problems with it. Went over there, found out the tank was just completely cloudy. They had all these guppies. You couldn't see them in there because it was just a huge bacteria bloom going on in
Yeah.
there. It was all white. And so we explained what was going on after asking, what they were doing for feeding and whatnot. And they had way too many. So they're basically overproducing. They're eating their young and causing, spikes in ammonia and nitrates and all that caused some bacteria problems. And so we gave them tips and pointers, and they said, well, do we need to get rid of some of the fish? I'm like, well, if you break them down or get rid of more of the females and just keep the males. She said that, well, I guess I could probably bring them back to the store. I'm like, if they're not able to, and I'm not trying to get free fish from you guys, but we have plenty of space and tanks at our house. If you have trouble giving them away or can't find a new home for them, we'll take them off your hands. So we went back a few days later, like maybe a week or so, and their tank was just looking wonderful. They were so happy that they gave us a bunch of these black bars. So we got males and females. There's other kinds in there, obviously, but we got some male and female ones, and they were breeding so well. And having Jeff Kane over one time, he looked at them. He's like, that looks like a true line of them, actually. So the tails on them, I've noticed as they get older, are really starting to get longer than most Endlers that I've seen.
Yeah, they're really neat.
Almost like long fin.
And
Well,
there's some of them, they almost like split more at the ends of the splits. Like,
yeah, this
really
guy over
cool.
here is really got a long forked tail on him. So they kept producing. When we got them, we had some mosaic guppies that Katie had bought, and they kind of crossbred, not into the ones we have here, but one survived out of the crossbreeding because we noticed what was happening when we started separating them out. And we got one he's right about here.
Okay, yeah.
So he's got more of a mosaic tail on him. Since he's been in here and he's a little bit older now, they've been picking at it, but it used to be really big and flaming tail fin on that guy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool because he looks so much like a black bar with a mosaic tail. I wanted to replicate that, but unfortunately the mosaics we had all died. I do have new ones now that I got from Daniken. I'd like to try and see if I can replicate that and line them out to have that specific look. But
yeah,
in the meantime, I got too many of them in the one tank that's behind you. That's the female in the original colony of them. I started just pulling males out. So that's until I get the setup how I really want to have it. I'm going to be able to selectively take the males that I want, with the females I want in a different tank.
This is the bachelor pad here, then.
Yeah.
Anything else in here besides the guppies?
There's a lemon blue eye bristle nose in here somewhere, but kind of hard to see with all this.
Yeah.
She's probably
maybe in the
inch
cave.
and a half long or so.
Oh, just mostly a bunch of guppy grass in here.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's quite a few snails in there too. Not as many as some of the other ones, but the lighter colored ones, I'm not sure.
Yeah, those are kind of cool. They're almost like leucistic looking.
Yeah. this kind of came from that same group of fish from that kids center. So I really didn't even know what black bars were until
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Kane came over and was able to identify them for me. So that's one breed that I'm trying to really get down. So it's nice, and I don't know.
They kind of remind me somewhat of blue star endlers too.
I do have some of those that
Yeah,
I got from Jeff. We'll show them in a little bit, but
with the orange and the blue.
yeah, these blue star ones are got a lot strikingly blue and white and black markings on them, and the finnage isn't quite the same on them as it is on these. I wonder if there is such a thing as like a long fin Endler, but if not, then maybe we got the first ones.
Yeah, those are really pretty.
Guppies and Endlers, it seems like they're, it's weird if they're popular or not. Thinking maybe one day they might be popular again and might be able to sell some or something.
It depends on where you are. But
I like them a lot. I just think that they're beautiful. This tank here needs a lot of work. This is when I was telling you about that. We had lots of angelfish in. We've got one bristlenose. We had two in there, and the male didn't make it. I don't know why. He was a lot smaller. The female, I think that's just a albino longfin. I'm not really good about the breeds of fish and stuff. We're still noobs to that, and we never really got into like the Latin names of things. I've got one angelfish in there left from our original batch that we bred. This is the weird tank that seems to never, the TDS levels never go up. In fact, they go down a little bit with time, so I gotta change the water just to keep them from going down too much. I don't know if it's the plants or whatnot. I try to keep it a little more clean in there, but we're not too picky when it comes to junk on the bottom and stuff. We like our tanks a little more natural, I guess is what you want to call it. But
lived in.
Yeah.
It's like people's houses when you go over there and it looks like a display.
Yep. Our tanks are definitely lived in.
Yeah.
But these plants get so prolific. Like I just trimmed a whole bunch out less than a week ago, and it's already plumb full. So I gotta kind of watch it, or else this little guy has no place to swim and grab the food anymore. But I think he's probably going to get transferred to another tank soon, so I can start utilizing this for the Endlers.
There you go.
There's just those two fish in it right now. That bristlenose hanging out back there, and the juvenile angelfish.
Awesome.
A whole lot of snails.
Yeah, I got a lot of snails too. All right, next door to that one, Jake, what do we got here?
This one is random female Endlers.
Okay.
The females don't have as, the coloration that the males do, just like guppies. But along with that batch that I got from the kids center was a lot of females, and it's a little harder to tell the different breeds when it comes to the females, because except for the lighter colored ones, but I'm thinking the ones that have the less markings on them are probably black bar Endlers.
Okay.
There's probably some hybrid ones in there. It's hard to tell really when it comes to females, because they, like I said, they don't have the markings that the males do. So they're kind of to keep any more like mutt breeding, I guess, going on. That's where all the random females that I didn't know the species for sure have all gone into this tank.
Okay.
They're still kind of continuing to spit out a few fry now and then. It's slowed down a lot, and any males I start to notice in there, I've been pulling out. So I do know that when it comes to the females, just like their larger guppy cousins, if they get that it's that black spot in the back, gravid spot.
Gravid spot, yeah.
Normally that shows up pretty quickly. That one right here, I'm thinking is probably a male. So he's starting to get the black bar on the side. So I keep an eye on them and try to pull out the males before they get, big enough to start impregnating.
Yeah, I've got that going on in my tanks currently. From when I had a bunch of mixed guppies in my pond, when I took everything out of there and got rid of them, I had 2 males and 1 female that got missed in that pond. And since then, that female has given birth quite a few times, and kind of like these guys. And she's starting to slow down, but
it takes a long time.
Yeah,
I was asking around. Like I'll probably bring up Jeff's name quite a bit just because he's kind of been my helper and teacher through a lot of this sort of stuff. I ask him questions all the time, but I'm like, how long does it take them to be, vacant basically? And he said it can take several months before they stop producing, which I find amazing. It's like,
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I thought after they had a batch, then they were done, kind of like human beings, but that's not necessarily the case.
And now see the Gadeids, they're kind of like that. They have to be impregnated every time. But yeah, guppies, it must just be, I don't know. It's got to have to do with some survival mechanism they have where they can just store it. But the hornwort in here looks really nice.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people struggle with hornwort. They don't like it because if it starts to turn brown and all those needles fall off everywhere, it can create quite the mess.
It can, yeah, and it does in some of our tanks. But I've been playing around with these little things we got off of a Temu site there. Maybe you can kind of see one back behind there, but they almost look like lava rock, but they're a cylindrical.
Okay, so like these guys right here.
And so I cut a bunch of this to length and kind of stripped off from the main stem.
Okay, yeah, there it is.
And then jammed a bunch of it through the middle of it because it's like donut shaped through the middle. And use that to weight it down to kind of so they're not completely floating at the top all the time. And then I can kind of trim off excess as it grows.
Yep.
And it looks more like a tree type plant instead of floating everywhere. Because I don't know if it's our water parameters naturally or what, but this stuff grows like crazy in our tanks.
Yeah,
you can go from a foot to 6 feet in a couple weeks. It just explodes.
Yeah, I'm constantly throwing this stuff away. It grows really good in my water too.
I know that Vibes is always looking for some, so we'll probably start when it gets warmer out, save some of that and send it over to Eddie.
Oh, there you go.
He's always having to buy it, and it's like, why are you buying it when I'm throwing the stuff away?
Well, why does he keep having to buy it, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't do so well in his...
Oh.
Lower back. Yeah.
Getting old. All right, so what do we got going on in these 2 tanks up here, Jake?
A couple 5-gallon tanks.
Those are 5 gallons, huh? Yeah, I guess
5
they
or
are.
5.5. Somewhere
yeah,
in there.
I've got a couple of these same size tanks. I guess yours look way bigger than mine. Maybe because it's up at eye level. Mine are on a dresser, so they're like down here, like where these are.
Yeah.
They look a lot smaller. But yeah, so what do you got going on in these?
Originally, I set these up to be for Neocaridina shrimp. So they're exactly the same, sand with some lava rock piles in there. I got 1 shrimp in there because I wanted to start separating, culling, trying to get my colors to come back up, mostly to get some blue ones. But we were at the pet store and I saw rummy nose tetras, which they never ever had and I've always wanted. So we bought 5 of them, and same thing with that pet store lately. Almost every fish we buy from there dies within a few days. So now we only have 1 rummy nose tetra in there.
Okay.
And there's just the 1 shrimp so far that, like I said, was part of the project to start separating them, and then we bought some fish. really just some guppy grass, pogo stem in that one, and the other tank is all shrimp. Same exact setup.
Okay.
Just a sponge filter and a pile of rocks. That one's got hornwort in it too, and just trying to get more of the blue colors out. There's a couple browner type colored ones I gotta scoop out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But just trying my hand at that.
Yeah, shrimp are fun.
We bought a 20 pack of them off Amazon. They were called Skittles, so they're variety
Okay.
call ones, you know.
Yep.
And at the time, we just threw them all in together and didn't know that their colors would mix.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up losing a lot of the yellows and the reds that we had, but the blues have stayed strong. The black colored ones are still there. But
I have to say the blues, for me, like to stay true to their colors too. They're definitely the shrimp that I cull the least are my blues.
yeah, I just really like them. It was Katie's idea to get them. I kind of thought, well, they're kind of cool, and then once we got them, I just kind of got entranced by watching them, especially if you take a camera and zoom in on them and you can see them moving and eating so much. They just start to get fascinating watching them move around. And when they start carrying their eggs or being buried or whatever they call that, it's really fun to see that too. Plus they reproduce so quick, so it doesn't take long before you can get a bunch of them.
Yeah.
They're just kind of a neat, different creature than a regular fish, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what these tanks are. Just extra tanks to have to sort out some of our shrimp. We do have shrimp in 2 other tanks that we'll get to here as well, but
very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Katie, so why don't you tell us a little bit about this tank? I really like the way this one looks. This is pretty.
Thank you. This is our Father Fish inspired dirted tank.
Okay.
And we did our own recipe and kind of mimicked what his was for the bottom dirt cap. And it has probably around 10 ingredients in it. It's regular plain potting soil. It's not Miracle Grow. No chemicals from the dirt whatsoever. It's all natural organic stuff in here.
Okay.
And then we had capped it off 2 inches with play sand.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the Pictus catfish in here and the pleco and a couple other fish we had to take out because they were starting to dig in the substrate.
Yeah.
2 of them were the parrotfish, the blood parrots. So we took them out. So we have Java moss in here, Java fern, Crips, Val. I have some, I think, pogo stem in there somewhere, and there's actually 2 different types of Java fern in here.
Okay.
We have the split leaf looking one and then the regular leafed looking one.
Windelove? Yeah.
And then we have some Anubias we have glued into some of the driftwood in here. It's darker in color, partly because of the dirt and the tannins from the driftwood in here.
Okay.
This one we don't really do water changes on unless we absolutely have to. We do top offs.
Yeah. There's a Pictus cat right there.
Yep,
I've got a couple of these guys.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're sweet.
Yeah, we have 2 of them, and then we have a bunch of swordtail babies, males, females. And then we have, of course, our golden veil angel. I'm going to call it a calico angel.
Koi.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gotten quite large since we put them in there. We have
those are big guys.
We're told to us were fat-lipped gouramis, but I believe they might be chocolates.
Okay.
There's 2 of those in there. And then we have some zebra danios.
Yeah, those zebra danios are large and in charge.
Yeah.
Man.
And then a German blue ram.
Yeah, there's a ram right there.
One of those zebra danios are the bright colored.
There it is.
Oh, okay. Nice.
We had a lot more plants in this one, but like I said, We had to pull some stuff out because of the cichlids. We did have the large sword plant, which you'll see is now in the 210 just to keep it alive.
Mm-hmm.
It was so large, it was coming out of the top of the tank and overcoming off the ledges. So, oh yeah, coolie loaches are in here too. We have 6 of those.
Yeah, let's feed some fish. Those platies, the platies?
Swordtails.
Or swordtails. The swordtails are really pretty.
I just gotta slide the light for a second.
We also have lots of duckweed from Jeff. Red root floaters.
How did Jeff recommend the duckweed? Or
it came with his plants.
Oh, okay.
Well, our fish store said they were coolie loaches, but I don't know enough about them. They don't have the pattern that I always see in coolie loaches.
Okay, so maybe are they like a brown color?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they call them black coolie loaches. I've actually got a couple of those too. They're not really black, but they're like a dark brown. Yeah. Yep, I see them right there. Oh, they are. Oh yeah.
This is the tank that we have our pothos coming out of the top and climbing on the wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed that you guys do have a lot of plants in this room. I like it.
Well, that's been our main thing from. I'll move closer to Katie. It's been our main thing usually is plants. We're plant keepers before fish keepers, so we do love the plants and working them in together. Not just aquatic plants, but plants that can be grown out of your tanks. It just expands so much more of your what's the word I'm looking for? My brain's doing a
environment.
Possibilities, I guess. We're not just limited to just aquatic plants. You can grow house plants aquaponically through your fish tanks. And even just having potted plants hanging in here, we use water from the tanks to water them.
Yeah.
So they just do really well.
Fish juice.
Fish juice.
Oh, I see the angel eggs are gone off the leaf.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to last.
Yeah, that's a really cool tank.
You said we have the ram. Did you mention that?
Yep. Yeah, we got the ram.
And the honey gourami.
Yeah, these gouramis are really cool. What are those? The bigger ones.
That's a golden gourami.
Those are the gold gouramis? Okay. Yeah, those are really neat. They kind of remind me of the opaline.
Mm-hmm. I liked it because it looked like a more native fish to the lakes.
Mm-hmm. They're really neat. All right.
This tank here is kind of a temporary tank for our African cichlids.
Okay.
I can tell you the name of one, if not maybe 2.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see him though. There he comes in the log.
Should come out into the light. Fantastic blue.
It's a Malawi Johanni blue.
Okay. Yep. The Johanni.
And a blue polar parrot.
Okay.
And then over somewhere by the flower pot, we have an Mbuna.
Yellow with black spots.
So yeah, like a blue zebra kind of thing. Okay, yep.
But I think...
And Auratus is the yellow one?
Not sure. Nobody, when we got them, they didn't know what they were. They just called them African cichlids.
Okay, yeah. To me, it looks like an Auratus, unless it's... I can't remember if the Johannis are the ones with different colored females. I know that...
Yeah, because that yellow one, or that lighter colored one, looks almost exactly the same as the blue one.
Mm-hmm.
Just different coloration.
Yeah. So it could be the female Johanni. I'm not sure if that was the species that had the blue and yellow or not. And then peacock, the bigger one.
That's what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
Some sort of peacock. Very cool. So you guys got these from a lady here in town, right?
Yep.
Okay.
She had to make room because the tank that they were in, they weren't getting along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that will happen.
Well, they were all in a 55, and now they're in a 40 breeder, and they're getting along just fine. So
they've got still more swim space in this 40 compared to where
she did have a lot of stuff for decor and things crammed in there too. So, but that could
it's
all
bound
change.
to happen.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes a change of scenery will correct some of those issues too.
Yeah.
Like rearranging the tank or...
They were kind of going at each other when they first got in here, but they've calmed down a lot.
Very cool.
We have a mixture of pogostemon and guppy grass floating in this one, hornwort, and I think that's all we have for the plants in this one. This one, like I said, is just temporary. We're going to actually put substrate in this one later on after these guys move out and go into 210.
I want to turn that one into like a tetra castle. I got that castle still that I want to use, and I want to make like a big tetra tank, just nothing but different species of
that'd be cool.
tetras in this one. That's the plan.
Nice.
This one down here is our
Let's float down here.
29-gallon tank with our breeding pair of angels.
Okay.
We have a golden veil, and I've been told many different names for the other one. So normally when he gets kind of excited, he gets his stripes in.
Okay.
He's got really cool red eyes.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what, I'm not very versed on angelfish.
We get our fish because we like the looks of them, not necessarily just species-wise.
It was strange when we moved that male in here. He used to be in the 75 until they started pairing off. And that male was a lot more colored like the one that's in there. But it didn't have any orange. It was just black and white stripes, and they were vivid as crazy. We put him in here. He slowly started getting like an orange cap to him, and now he's just kind of fades out. I don't know. The colors have changed so much on him over the last year.
So are they spawning in here for you guys then, or?
They have been.
I lost track how many times.
I had a piece of PVC tube in there, like 3-inch, and they'd spawn on there, and I pulled it out last time to try to hatch them out in a different container because they've been eating them lately.
Okay.
They used to take care of them all the time, and now every time they lay a batch, they usually eat them up within a couple days.
Yeah, you hear that a lot with angels. They'll eat their eggs. They're kind of picky that way. And like I said, I've never tried my hand at breeding angels, but you hear a lot of people about how they'll eat their eggs over any, if you turn on the lights too fast, they get scared and eat their eggs. I mean, it's
finicky.
Yeah. Very pretty though. I like the angels. I like the shape. Really neat.
They go after Jake when he puts his hand in the tank.
Do they? Let's see it, Jake.
I don't know if they will. Usually if there's eggs in there, they won't.
Not today.
Dun, 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 dun.
No, you got lucky.
They always did when they had, after they'd spawn, then they get feisty. You put your hand in there and they're going to go after you. A little more fearless then. But yeah, it's a messy tank. Mostly because it's floor level. We might convert this tank to something that just holds plants. I don't know. Because it's hard to do any water changes with it. You have to pump it out and can't siphon it.
Yeah.
Pump out, pump in.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got quite a few of those.
We got a spare sponge filter in there just chilling out. And a whole lot of mom.
Yeah.
A whole lot of mom.
Very cool. Oh, God. All right.
And this one's our 210.
Big boy here.
You're gonna have to zoom out.
Yes, I did. Very cool.
This has all of our goldfish that we normally would keep in tanks, but also has the pond fish that we bring in every winter.
Okay.
So this one right here,
Mm-hmm.
that Smudge, she is original gangster to one of the tanks in here.
Okay.
Where is it? That's the long fin.
Mm-hmm.
That's Blondie. No, this is Blondie. There she is. She's the big one.
Okay.
And then we have Choo Choo, the Ranchoo. And then we have the 2 black Moors in here from Jeff Kane.
Yeah, those looked familiar. I was wondering if you got those from Jeff.
Yep. They grew fast.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple different... These were just feeder goldfish, so I'm just assuming what they are. Fantails, comets. Some of them look like they might be a mix with a koi. Just the body style looking.
Very cool.
And this has our sword plants, which they love to eat.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But at least they're still alive. And we have our lily in here from the pond, the last survivor.
Okay.
And they'll eat that one too. But yeah, they're big puppy dogs.
Yeah, goldfish are neat. We had one that we won at the fair. Me and my brother when we were younger. His name was Goldie. It lived in a bowl for years. I don't know how, but it was a fun fish. Wish now I would have kept it a lot differently, but
Oh yeah, you always look back and I wish I would have done this different. Eventually, this is gonna have substrate in the bottom, and I'm gonna scape it. I've got a really large piece of driftwood. I just have to be strategic on how I'm gonna get it in because it only has 2 small openings on the acrylic on top.
Okay.
And the wood's pretty large.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's going to have a lot more plants in it. Everything is going to be rearranged. It was just a hurry up, get fish into somewhere because the winter's coming right now.
So have you ever tried overwintering these guys, or?
It would require a pond heater, and they're known to either short or just completely stop.
Yeah.
So
not worth it.
I don't think it would be so bad if our pond was in ground. But yeah. I mean, you don't just want to leave them out there and have them not make it. So I try to, when we do empty the pond, it helps a lot in the winter because when it freezes, it expands.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So it's less likely to cause any issues with any of the seams.
Yeah, this is a giant sword plant. This is huge.
And that's cut back, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, look at the runners coming out. You guys can't see it on camera, but I mean, those are thick. Yeah, that's crazy. You got a pleco in here too?
Yep. This was going to be Kong's home for the winter, but he didn't quite make it.
Whose home?
Kong, our 14-inch pleco we rescued.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this runs an FX6 on it. And then we have a large air stone in the center.
Yeah.
Our lights are just your cheapy shop lights, as close to 6,000 Kelvin as you can get.
Yep, I run a lot of those.
They're much more budget friendly.
They are. Right now, this is your guys' only tank in the house, correct?
Correct.
And these fish look very familiar. I know these fish. These are from Brian and Roxanne at Pepin Creek Aquatics. The longfin rosy barbs. These are really pretty fish.
They are gorgeous.
You guys are trying to get these to breed then?
Yeah, Jake put a breeder box in there with some plants. I think we're going to try and put some moss in there.
Yes, I agree. Some moss in there. Have you noticed any breeding activity out of them?
Nothing for laying that I've seen, but they're definitely full.
Yes, they are. The females are definitely plump.
We did have a bunch of more plants in here, but to forced them to try and breed in the breeder box, we took most of them out.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But this is just regular play sand like we use in the other tanks on the bottom.
Now this is what are the egg catcher from Lowell?
Yep.
Yeah, those are neat. I gotta get me one of those.
And a bunch of ram's horn snails in there.
Yeah.
Those are all from Jeff too. And of course, there's some duckweed in there, always.
Yeah.
No, not too much. Not like the rest of the tanks, but
Thanks, Jeff.
it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I gotta get me some of these.
Well, in August, get on the list and then she'll reserve them.
Yeah, or they got some coming up in the auction too, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I might have to get them there. We'll see. Cool. Baby break.
Scratch your face.
River, hi. Can you say hi? Can you say hello?
Scarface? Has it gotten better?
It looks better.
Can you say hello? Can you say hello?
Just like, give me your phone.
Oh, you go get it. Give me a hello. No? Who's that? Who is that? Is that you? Is that River? Oh, you trying to grab it? All right, what do we got? So this is on top of this little rack here.
Yeah.
We'll start at the top.
This rack, I'm going to have to reinforce it eventually so I can get two of them. I do have reinforcement in these
Okay.
to hold the weight. It's just kind of a cheap rack we got from Menards, but you can see it's kind of maxing out its weight capacity without any cross beams in there. But this 10-gallon tank is our mosaic guppies that we got from Daniken.
Okay.
We call them, they're Rivers fish because they showed up here the same day she was born.
Yeah, I remember that.
I got a notification on my phone that my package arrived, and I was 20 miles away in Hayward at the hospital, and told Katie our fish are there. We got, or they're in town. They're being delivered, so I'll run home quick, get some supplies. And when I pulled up into the driveway, I was pulling up the same time as the mail carrier. So she showed up with her at the same time I did, which was nice. And my other daughter was home at the time. She helped me film unboxing them, but I still had the bracelet on my hand and everything. But they're mosaic Dumbo guppies, and they've reproduced a little bit in there. We also have shrimp of various, mutt shrimp, or if you want to call that, just different colored shrimp in there as well. The males are the bright red ones, of course, and the females have more of a bluish color. I don't have a good proper light over this, just a ceiling light, so the colors don't show up the best. And I got no background painted on there yet.
Yeah, I was
either.
gonna say my camera's having a hard time focusing on these guys.
Yeah.
We're getting them though.
But there's some younger males in there, a couple younger females. So they're starting to reproduce.
Very cool.
I think they're pretty neat. The other ones we got are in this other tank.
Okay. This one here?
Those we got from Daniken on the same day as well. They're both fish we got on auction.
Okay.
Ginga rubra Endlers. They're tiny compared to the other Endlers we have. The females are a lot bigger, and but the males don't get much bigger than what you see in there.
Wow.
The full colored ones are about that big, so they're tiny fish. They breed really well on their own. This tank was originally set up to have just our shrimp, Neocaridina shrimp that we had gotten in, I spoke about. It's got a matin filter in the back, just a little 12-volt pump that sucks water from behind that sponge and shoots it over top. And it's been running like that. This is another one that I've done very few water changes on. You can kind of tell because it's not the best looking, but the water's clear. The plant don't have a lot of plants in there. You can see that one crypt has been doing really well in there on its own.
That thing looks nice.
But it's that filter is so efficient that it does keep the water pretty good.
Yeah, I've never done a matin filter. One of these days, I'm gonna have to try a matin filter out. See what they're all about.
I think it's the first and only one I've really done, and I gotten the idea off of Joey, the King of DIY. Did a bunch of racks of these with like air powered upright tubes in the back, and I tried that. I didn't like the flow, so I opted for a tiny little power head. Is basically meant for, I think, for like cooling computers.
Okay.
Those computers, some of them that have liquid cooling systems in them or whatever, but it's just a little 12-volt pump that sits under the water and a short tube coming over top. I did make a spray bar at first out of PVC and that was kind of cool, but the holes kept plugging up. I could have made them bigger, but I wanted more of a jet stream coming out of there. But since they clogged up so much, I just kind of cut that tube, so it's just a small 4-inch section of hard tube that the rubber hose goes into and just shoots over top. But it's a very efficient filter, I think. I've never cleaned it yet. I don't think I'll ever have to for probably quite a long time, especially with just stocking little things in it. I don't think it'd work very well on a large tank unless you do a lot of bracing and stuff, but with a small 10-gallon, you can just kind of cut it and wedge it in place. And I put the substrate in afterwards, so there's really no substrate behind it.
I'm trying to get this male to focus that camera, and I can't do it.
They're so quick.
They're so small, too. There we go. That was a good shot.
I put some crystals in there, like quartz crystals, and now they're kind of covered with algae.
Green crystals.
I heard if you put them in there, they kind of will grow algae, and I did that on purpose for the shrimp to kind of have extra food or whatever.
Sweet. Yeah, I like this tank. I like how simple it is.
It's the only one I have that's in that orientation.
Yeah, my 10-gallon rack, they're all this way, and they're, I kind of like the 10-gallon set like this.
It's not bad. I kind of like it too, just because there's a lot more depth. Front to back that way.
Yep.
Then of course you can fit a lot more on a shelf, but. All right, that tank is the other black bar Endler tank, the original one. So the only fish in there are black bar Endlers, and there is a couple bristlenose plecos hanging out in there. I think like a super red and an albino, another blue-eyed, or lemon blue-eyed, actually, is in there too. The lemon blue-eye, though, has a black spot on its tail, so it's a little untrue. Maybe.
Okay, so like a calico kind of thing?
Yeah, it's just got a singular spot on its tail, but still cool. Again, the females are much larger than the males in this breed, so they're easy to spot. They're large and plump. The largest of the females are the original mamas in there. So I let it go for a while till there's too many males, and then I kind of separate them out. But the light in there isn't as bright, so the plants don't grow quite as quick in this one.
Yeah.
It's just a cheap kit light in there.
I'm sure the fish don't mind it, though.
Well, they do pretty well.
Yeah.
Again, I don't do a lot of substrate vacuuming or anything, so you can kind of tell it gets stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, I'll suck some out just because to me, it starts looking a little bit on the ugly side, but I don't want it completely filled full of mulm.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a lot of ram's horn snails in this one as well. They just grow like crazy. I probably keep since I don't monitor how many are alive and dead in there too much, the snails kind of take care of the little ones if they don't make it.
Yeah.
Pretty simple tank. The one next to it's pretty much exact carbon copy, a little bit different shaped decor
Okay.
in there, but in there we have a bristle nose down in the middle there.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought there was another chocolate one in there somewhere, but they hide so much. That light's a little bit brighter, so
Yeah.
the guppy grass or whatever it is that's in there grows super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly trimming that back too, because again, you throw food in there and it just gets trapped, and it's kind of hard to feed the plecos when their stuff doesn't sink to the bottom. But these are the blue star endlers I got from Jeff Kane.
Yep, and these just look just like the ones I got. These are really pretty fish. Endlers are so hard to get on camera.
Yeah, they really are. I've tried to film them lots of times, and it's like I'll get short little clips while they're in focus, so it takes a lot of editing to get them all together.
Yeah, really.
Most of the time I find that I just gotta hold the camera in one spot because chasing them is almost impossible. And if I hold it in one spot, eventually they come swimming by it enough times, but it just tests the patience when you're trying to film them, that's for sure.
Yeah. Really pretty fish.
I'm partial to them. I don't know. We're pretty simple fish keepers over here. We like our goldfish and our guppies, and of course we have other fish too, but I don't know. I like the small basic fish that don't take much work to breed them.
Mm-hmm. All right, what do we got going on up in this guy?
This one has been through a lot of variations, but right now it holds our green tiger barbs. They may be jade tiger barbs, but there's 6 of those in there.
Yeah, those are cool.
We have 4 albino Buenos Aires tetras that we just got from that same lady we got the tetras or the cichlids from.
Okay.
She threw those in for free just because she wanted to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I think
awesome.
Yeah. Oops. Now I think I don't think I've ever seen albino Buenos Aires tetras, and I think they look a lot better than the regular Buenos Aires tetras.
There's something about the eyes. They're just cool. They're iridescent, like pink, and they glow, and they hold their own in that tank because those tiger barbs, before I put those tetras in there, they kind of ruled the roost in there. They're pretty spunky, but Buenos Aires, they hold their own fairly well.
Yeah,
they're bright colored and they are bigger, so they kind of boss the other fish around pretty well.
Have you noticed them eating on your plants at all?
No.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I had some Buenos Aires tetras one time, and they completely destroyed a dwarf hairgrass carpet that I had in a tank. They really like to munch plants.
Maybe keeping the hornwort from getting too decrepit in there. So but I've never really seen them picking at any of the plants. Well, I feed them quite well.
Yeah.
This whole tank. I do have 4 Dion tetras in there from this leftover from a couple years that I bought about 10 or 12 a while back, and so we're down to 4. I'd like to get more. My favorite fish are the neon tetras. If I could have a zillion of them, I would, but they're just kind of getting harder to come by and have quality ones anymore. But I got these when they weren't ready to be sold yet at the fish store. I talked them into selling them to me because they were babies in quarantine. They were tiny. Other tetras I have in there are some black phantom tetras. They're the ones with the eyeball looking mark on the side. The males have a more darker, longer fin on top. The females will have little red fins underneath. And I got 2. There's a lot of names for them. The white tip ornatus or candy cane ornate or whatever people call them, different sort of things. But I've only had 2 of them, and they're still going in there. Those are one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, those are really neat.
I'm really partial to tetras,
and
now I'm starting to really be partial to barbs as well, because I like the coloration in that, I guess, group of fish. The species tend to have awesome colors and patterns on them between barbs and tetras.
Yeah, I used to keep a lot of barbs, and my favorite thing about the barbs was the size of their scales.
Yeah.
Their scales just seem a lot bigger. They seem like, like they'd be river fish, the kind of almost carpish in a way, I guess, with the size of their scales.
For sure. There's a couple swordtails in there. All the ones that were in that 75 were babies from that big orange one. Is the mama, and then the skinny old black dude with no color on him. Right here we call him Gonzo. He's got white eyes, so I named him Gonzo after the Muppet because he's just got cartoon eyes. That's the mom and dad to all the other swordtails that we have, and there's one of their offspring in there left that I couldn't catch when I was moving them. So I just kind of left them in there so I could. She's probably a her by the looks of it. But
he's dancing. He's dancing for her right now.
They kind of made daddies and are different when it comes to fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But since I've had the tiger barbs in here, there's been no surviving fry from the swordtail.
I believe that.
I don't even see. I haven't even caught a glimpse of one afterwards. So. I'm sure that they get eaten up.
I believe that.
But in here, there's a lot of, you see Java fern. That wood is fake. It's a fake decor, but it looks pretty awesome, especially with the little bit of algae growing on it and stuff. I stuffed Java fern into the openings, threw in some Java moss, and just kind of let it do its own thing. And now it's starting to kind of get a carpet of Java moss going along the bottom. No substrate really in there. I plan on changing it, but it's like once a tank goes for a while, I have a hard time breaking it down because it's like it starts to get really established whether you have substrate or not.
Yeah.
And it takes so long to kind of reach that 1 or 2 year point where everything is starting to balance out. So I'm having a hard time tearing any of these tanks down. I'd like to get rid of this rack and build a rack to hold all of the 10s and both the 29s together in one system. They could fit it here, but it's just the matter of moving them, moving the fish. It's just a major change.
Take a look at it here.
Kind of got mementos hanging around on here too. We got this was a gift from a friend of mine that 3D prints his own lures.
Okay, that's neat.
I worked with them, and then when I had to leave to go work in a different town, he made it as a going away present. So it's a real working. He prints them out, designs them, prints them himself, and hand paints them. And Didn't nice rattle on there.
Yeah.
No treble hooks on there. I'm never going to use it, but it's fully functional. If I wanted to fish with it, I could. But it's pretty cool.
Like the red eyes.
Yeah.
What's he been doing?
Yeah, he might know a few things about me. So I set it outside the tank to kind of scare these barbs into behaving themselves. So I'll just sick that guy after them. I've got a couple plushies.
Yeah, I noticed the plushies.
Here. Turn on the light. They're both glow in the dark ones. They got a green one and a blue one.
Okay.
We won those during one of Adele's from Australia.
Okay.
This lady here.
Yeah.
She had a giveaway, and June, only Oscars had that as one of the giveaway prizes.
Okay.
And we won. It was
Nice.
great. So these came from June.
Very cool.
They're awesome. You turn out the lights at the end of the night. They keep glowing. They're pretty cool.
Really neat.
We've got a partial pleco skull from that one that Katie calls Kong.
Okay.
I had it all together, but the one live stream where I was showing it off, it started falling apart. So.
Nice.
Just various stuff like that.
Yeah.
Knickknacks and pieces of wood and stuff that have little stories behind it.
Yeah, that's my fish room's kind of the same. It's got little knickknacks everywhere. It's
like
kind of
this
nice.
is just the same guy that made that. He brought this in because he was making parts for his motorcycle. He has a Kawasaki. So he had, I don't know if it was like a malfunction with his 3D printer or he was cleaning out the nozzle or something. And he just knows me well enough that I'd be the only one that think this isn't garbage. This is really cool looking worm thing.
Yeah.
You know, so stuff like that just reminds me of him.
All right, Jake. Well, let's get into these ponds here. I'm curious to know what the story is with these ponds, especially this one. This one's big.
Let me turn the light on here on it.
Now, are there any fish?
There are.
Ponds? Okay.
There are 2 blood parrots in there.
Ooh.
If it wasn't so much duckweed,
I see that.
I might be able to throw some food in there and get them to.
Come on, Jake.
Show them.
I know you've at least had since February 22nd to get this duckweed.
Well, the thing is that there's other floating plants in there I don't want to get rid of. So removing the duckweed has been kind of tedious. Let's see if I can get them. Plus, they're extremely shy.
Okay.
I doubt.
Yeah, a lot of
they're going to see your camera and stuff. They're probably not even going to come out. There's a common pleco in here as well as a Chinese algae eater as well.
Okay.
But there's 2 blood parrots in here, and they keep getting bigger. I don't get to see them very often, so every time I see them, I'm like, holy crap, you got bigger. But I'd say they're probably the ones 4 inches long, but probably over an inch thick. He's just a big fat guy.
Okay.
I wonder if I can.
Very cool.
I made this little utensil here. It's great for. It's an old fish net. And the needlepoint canvas.
Yep.
And it just works really great for
the duckweed,
sifting out any kind of duckweed and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I can. This big pothos plant in here. It used to be all up on top. It got so big it finally fell over into the water. So we're gonna have to probably do some rearranging on there.
It kind of looks like it likes it.
There's one. Kind of see him.
Oh yeah.
Really hard to.
Yeah, he's hiding under the leaf there. I don't know if it'll show up on camera or not.
This is a hard one to film because of the way the light is on here.
Yeah.
It's directly above.
Yep.
But
it's all right.
Basically, you got some wire vine. There's some. There's another sword plant in here. There's driftwood. We got a tiny water lily that's not coming to the surface yet. You can kind of see the leaves poking out. A lot of times we just throw excess hornwort in here to make room for stuff. My my floaty projects that I made with these spider plants.
Yeah, those are neat.
They're starting to be too heavy for
Uh-huh.
these little ones, so they'll tip over. But
Tipping over.
you can see the
Yeah.
spider plants just love to have wet feet. I found they're a great plant if you want to make a bog or anything.
Uh-huh.
They do exceptionally well in there. For filtration, I just have a Marineland power head feeding this Timu filter.
Okay.
It's got like mechanical filtration, then your like pot scrubbies, and then I got lava rock down the bottom chamber. Just works great. I love this filter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so easy to change stuff because you just come in here, open the lid.
Okay.
I gotta clean the intake on
Mhm.
that. It's not coming out as well as normally, but it'll come out through here. I got a sponge filter underneath, cut to fit, and then just polyfill fabric cloth,
Mm-hmm.
cut to size and lay that on there. And then it goes down into the next one, and then down to the next one and out. And
Nice.
you always know when this is full because you got an overflow here with the clear tube. So
Uh-huh.
as soon as you start seeing water coming through there, then you know it's time to
Okay.
change your filter.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I've seen those on Temu too, and I've
Yeah.
always thought about how,
Super efficient, and you
Yeah.
can put whatever the heck you want in there.
Okay.
My next plan to do in there, because I've seen variations of it, where
Mm-hmm.
they'll have a cutout on the bottom lip of the third one,
Okay.
and I want to put in, I don't know what the hell happened. Oh, this guy here, I've got a UV lamp.
Okay.
So then I want to put that in the bottom, and the cord will come out the little slot if I cut a little slot in the top
Mm-hmm.
lip here, because these are all 3 sections,
Yeah.
That way I can have a little sterilization. So far I don't really need it. It never really gets too full of algae in here,
Mm-hmm.
but just to see if I can, basically the only reason. But that's 110 gallons.
Okay.
We're planning on getting those fish out of there, at least the 2 parrots, and put
Mhm.
our goldfish in there. Katie probably told you that already.
Yeah, that'd be a cool little. You'd definitely see the goldfish a lot more in there, I'm sure. Than
Yeah. Well, that's where we always had them in there
Okay.
before. This is where we would normally winter our goldfish and that.
Okay.
But since we had other stuff come in and whatnot, we decided to kind of get the goldfish are really good at cycling your
Yeah. Yep.
filters and stuff because they're pretty hardy. They're going to hold up. Chances are they're not going to die during that process, and they poop a lot, so they're really good at getting the filters started if you haven't got them cycled through another means.
What do we got up here?
This is a 55-gallon tank. There's
Okay.
only 3 residents in here.
Okay.
Again, I might have to toss some food in there so you'll be able to see.
Probably all
We have
hiding.
a Salvini. I think it's a Salvini cichlid.
Okay.
It's hard to tell because the patterns are a little bit different. I've had other people look at it and try to identify it, and even cichlid experts have had a hard time. So it leads me to believe it's probably some kind of a hybrid.
Of some sort. Yeah.
So throw some food in there. It will eventually sink, and then it'll. So those rocks in there are aqua decor rocks, so they're hollow.
Okay.
I have them laying on their side, so the back side is open,
Uh-huh.
so he or she can use it as a cave.
Gotcha.
There's some pieces starting to fall down. And might.
Yeah, because earlier I saw what
There
was
he
that?
is.
What was the little white fish in there?
There's a albino Senegal bicher.
Yeah. There he is. Yep.
But that is our most shy fish that we have.
Uh-huh.
If I come in with a white t-shirt on, it won't come out. It's just if he sees any movement. So normally I'll stand way across the other side of the room and wait for him. There, he came out real good that time.
Shoot.
Came all the way out for the one. There's been a couple days though where I don't know if it just feels more adventurous and starts swimming around like a normal fish.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a hang-on back filter in there that hasn't been running for months and months. I've been too lazy to pull it out and clean it, so it looks like garbage. Senegal Bisher is sometimes hard to see.
Yeah, when I saw him, he was up here in these weeds.
Really likes hanging out inside there.
Uh-huh.
At night he comes out a little more and swims around. He's probably getting closer to 4.5 inches.
Okay.
They're not a very fast grower.
Yeah.
But this only fish that are in there. I was using that for the goldfish that were more of like the display ones.
Mm-hmm.
More fancier goldfish I had in there, and then the more common goldfish I had in the pond. But
Okay.
playing rearranging, got a little bit of cyanobacteria going on in there too, so it's like it's about time to reset that tank, I think. Wish it was more exciting to look at, but that's why we're gonna change some stuff in those.
And then what's going on down here in this pond?
That is just plants.
Just plants.
We needed a place, and snails. There's snails in there.
Okay.
If there are any fish in there, there's probably maybe some baby guppies that I scooped up on accident or something, but
yeah.
I haven't seen any yet. So I keep topping it off with aquarium water if I do changes or whatnot.
Okay.
It's just to hold.
So just excess that you're taking out of these tanks?
A lot of hornwort and the I keep calling it pogo stenonym. It's probably guppy grass or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of that looks the same to me, so I have a hard time telling you what it is for sure. Because I could be completely wrong, but
yeah.
More of a place just to hold plants for now until the greenhouse is up, because we're going to try and grow a lot of aquatic plants out there this
Probably be awkward again in the outro. Let's see how many times we can do this. All right.
Take one.
All right, here we go. All right.
We could get 2 dustpans and clank them together too.
Yeah, we could. All right, that'll wrap up the tour here at Jake and Katie's. Katie was nice enough to make me some lunch. It was delicious and very much appreciated. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed my time here. It's been very nice meeting the both of you.
Likewise.
Wisconsin fish fam. So it's very nice to meet somebody else in the Wisconsin fish fam. Jeff, if you're listening, I'd like to come to your room at some point. I know you keep telling me it's going to be a while, but it doesn't have to be a while.
No.
Let's get her done.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that being said, I appreciate you guys having me over here. Is there anything else you guys would like to say?
Well, just glad we got to meet you in person,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
see each other and chat all the time. We watch each other's videos, but it's really an experience to like meet people face to face. It makes it all more personable, and just lucky that we can do that we live close enough to be able to meet up with you.
Yeah.
And the same goes for the other people we've met in person. I know there's probably other opportunities to meet more people in the future, so I look forward to that too. And I don't know.
The fish fan picnic.
Yeah, there's the cookout. So if anybody watching this wants to go to the cookout, it's going to be worth it. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good old fashioned, this Wisconsin style backyard barbecue thing. And pitch a tent, hang out, tell stories, eat, sit by the fire, and of course,
Lots of laughs.
and lots of fish.
Yes.
Yeah, the place that they have it at they have a ton of beautiful fish. They're just really skilled at what they do in breeding fish. So it's always a great opportunity and a great time. My throat got dry really quick there. Dry.
Yeah.
It's not cotton mouth. Not yet.
Yeah. Not in Wisconsin yet.
No.
Soon.
All
right, guys. Later.
See ya.
Cool.
Goodbye.